Hello and welcome to Ask Ron. Finally going to comment on the Shawn Rhoden guest posing. Please realize I did not comment like everybody else on Sunday or Monday to get all the clicks and views just to complain about how bad he looked. Guest posing at the Pittsburgh Pro Championships. I have no interest in doing that. I also wanted to see, I knew there'd be a backlash and I wanted to hear what Shawn's reaction was. I don't know if he'd been ill or... I just want to see what his explanation was. So last night he did put that up. He posted that on his Instagram. And here it was, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Now that I have your attention, let's get real for a minute. My name is Shawn Rhoden. Most of you call me Flexitron. And I'm human just like you. Just like you, I put my pants on one leg at a time. I've been skinny, and yes, I do get fat in the off season. See pictures above. I've never hide who I am, where I'm from, and what I do. So for you guys looking to get more like or views on your page, here you go. Every year I try to add balance to my life after the Olympia and try to give my body a break and live a little. But come September, I always show up ready to compete with the best of the best in the sport and hold my own. Very true, he does. So until you're able to walk a mile in my shoes and accomplish what I have done in the 10 years I've been IFBB Pro, continue to do what you do and sit behind your keyboard and write about me and or any other pro. We all can't walk around with a six-pack 24/7, but come showtime, we show up. So to all my fellow pro out there, continue to live a little and don't be afraid to enjoy your off season. And for you, yes, you, continue to make you post if it make you feel better. See you in September and judge me there also. And a lot of the pros congratulate him in the comments. That's fine. And I agree that it's not that important what you look like. It doesn't matter. It's not important at all what he looks like in May, any Mr. Olympia, because the contest isn't until September. So, a lot of guys, a lot of great champion bodybuilders I've known over the years used to get pretty fat in the off season. I mean, remember Lee Priest? Lee used to look like a donut, like the Michelin Man in the off season sometimes. He always got shredded when he needed to. And I know Shawn is going to be in great shape at the Olympia. I don't doubt. Like a lot of people are saying, the way he looks now, there's no way. That was 18 weeks out. I've seen plenty of guys at his level make such dramatic transformations. I'm not worried one bit that he's going to be able to pull it together. Absolutely he will. Shawn, he's been a pro for 10 years, like he says. He's gotten in excellent condition many times. That's not the issue. The issue is he knew he had to guest pose at what is the most prestigious guest posing event of the year, Jim Mannion's Pittsburgh Pro. It's an honor to be asked because Jim is the godfather. He's the president of the NPC, the IFBB. Pittsburgh is his hometown. That's where the NPC began. So it's been a tradition for many years now for the top Olympians, the top, say, anywhere from 6 to 10 in the Olympia, to be asked to go and guest pose at his show, the Pittsburgh, which is always in early May. And it's an honor to do so because, like I said, it's when he asks, it's like, wow. So that being said, he knew he had to guest pose. Shawn knew that this event was coming up. So my question is, why didn't he diet just a little bit for it? He didn't have to be shredded. That would be ridiculous for him to, try to get into actual contest condition. And, there was an advantage. Some of these guys that were guest posing have just competed in the past couple months, so they weren't that out of shape. They didn't have time, unless they really went crazy on the food, to get out of shape. And Shawn has not competed since September. He's had a long time. It's been a while since he's been on stage. And yes, a lot of people would say, well, he's Mr. Olympia. He shouldn't even get that fat. We'll put that beside the point. What he does in the off season, that's on him. As long as he shows up on game day looking the way he's supposed to look, he's done his job. And I have no doubt he wants to hold on to that title. He's going to come back in September in shape. No doubt in my mind. But it was a bad look to represent Mr. Olympia. It was a bad look just in general to represent yourself. I don't know why he didn't ask Jim Mannion to do something else at the show. I mean, I would have said, Jim, I'm just not in really the condition to guest pose. And like Giles Thomas and AJ were talking about it on Global Muscle Radio, maybe put a nice suit on, give a nice speech to the crowd, about the sport and the Mr. Olympia title and how he plans to defend it, and all the guys are great. And it would have been, he could have given a nice speech and everyone would have clapped and it would have been a cool thing. He didn't have to guest pose. I don't know if he just maybe felt obligated that he had to do it because he had been asked. I'm going to put this in perspective. I have not walked a mile. I have not accomplished, obviously, a fraction, nor will I ever, of what Shawn Rhoden has. But I have, believe it or not, guest posed. I was the winner of a NPC tested event in 2007. I was the overall winner of that up in New Hampshire, a show, and they asked me to come back the next year and guest pose. And I did not compete that year. I competed again in 2009. But even though in 2008 I wasn't competing, I knew I'm going to be guest posing at this show on this date. And I didn't get shredded, but I did diet. It was also in the summer, so it wasn't like a huge deal. But I did diet so I would look decent. I didn't want to get up there and guest pose and look, way out of shape because I was on the flyer and everything, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. No one's doubting for a minute what Shawn has accomplished, what he's capable of. He is Mr. Olympia. He is currently the greatest bodybuilder in the world as deemed by the judges, the IFBB judges at the last Mr. Olympia. No one's doubting that. And I'm not a hater. I'm a fan of all the guys. I don't hate anybody. There's nobody that I'm like dying to see beat him. There's nobody that I'm like dying to see become Mr. Olympia. I'm not on anyone's team like that where I think everyone else sucks and this guy's the greatest. I've never really been that way. I support all the guys. I'm a fan of the sport. If I wasn't a fan of the sport, if I didn't still have a passion for it and admire what these guys are able to do, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. I would have stopped working in this bodybuilding journalism industry many, many years ago. I don't know how anybody can work in this business and not have some kind of passion and interest for the sport of it. If not, you're just a tourist. You could be writing about golf or, I don't know, bass fishing or something. It would be all the same to you. But I can only cover this industry, this sport. This is what I know. This is what I've been doing with my life. I've been training since 1983, for God's sake. Competed in over 24 competitions. And even though I'm not at the level of someone like a Shawn and never will be, never could have been, I do understand what it takes. I have dieted, I have competed, and I understand. Furthermore, let's play devil's advocate here and say that he was off of all the special supplements, which I think he was, for this guest posing. That's still, you can still keep things a little tighter. I've been on and off gear. I know it's much harder to have that tight, hard appearance when you're not off gear, because being on gear, you're leaner. You're just naturally leaner. You have more muscle. It burns more calories at rest. You're just leaner. So when you're off gear, you do have to be more conscious of your diet, do a little more cardio if you want to stay tighter looking and not get fat, because you don't have the hormones working in your favor anymore. That aside, I'm not hating on Shawn. I think he's an excellent bodybuilder. He's got an incredible physique, such amazing shape, muscle quality, the striations. I am a Shawn Rhoden fan. I'm a fan of all these top guys. I know how hard they work. I know what it takes for them to train day in, day out, and to diet and eat that same boring ass food 6 times a day or whatever. It's not easy. It's a grind. So my only concern here is that it just wasn't a good look for Shawn or the Mr. Olympia title, and I wish he had reconsidered or asked Jim Mannion to do something else in some other capacity at the show rather than guest pose, because I don't want to be making this video saying Mr. Olympia guest pose and look like crap. I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to be, being harsh on anybody. I don't like that, because I respect all these guys and I don't enjoy ripping on them, as some people seem to think I'm a hater and I love critiquing. I love just tearing them apart. I don't, but my job is to critique. I can't just say everyone's awesome, everyone's Mr. Olympia, because everyone's not Mr. Olympia. There are levels. That's why there's only one Mr. Olympia. There's only one winner at every show. Nobody's perfect. There's flaws in every physique. Everyone's a work in progress. So that's it. I wish Shawn the best defending his title this year, and I don't think the way he looks now is any indication that he's not going to be another threat. He's not going to be capable of holding on to his title. It's irrelevant the way he looks now. I totally believe that, but I just don't think you're giving the sport a good look and the Mr. Olympia title a good look by going up on stage guest posing like that, when you know in today's social media age and YouTube, it's going to be blasted all over the world within hours, and it was. So that's it. That was my little take on it. Shawn, I wish you the best. I didn't make this video to rip on you. I am a fan of your physique. I know you're going to look great at the Olympia. And that's it. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.